Today's episode is brought to you by Ridge Wallet. Ridge Wallet. It's a special type of wallet because it's different than what you have. Usually some people have a wallet that's in the back of their pocket, you know? They got that bump. They got that camel booty. But now everything can change. Ridge Wallet is a front pocket carry. Minimize what you carry. Keep it in the front. No more pickpocketers. You ever been to Croatia? Psh, good luck keeping your wallet there. It's a dangerous place sometimes. But with that Ridge Wallet front pocket carry, you'll be okay. RidgeWallet.com/Theo for 10% off. All right, let's go into this. Okay. Man, you know that it's halfway to Christmas. Do you know that? Ooh. I could smell some reindeer's ass cheeks around, yeah. You know that? And some people are like, oh, that's gross. Nah, have you smelled a reindeer's ass, bro? Like cinnamon, you know? Gang. Come on. Go. Right there. You know, that's a smoky little beat right there. Submitted by Jameson Flood. And Jameson's been a listener since the beginning of the podcast. Thank you so much for that hitter right there. That's called No Sale. And if you have some unique music, you can submit it through the This Past Weekend website, and that's on theovon.com. Dude, it's halfway to Christmas. Can you believe it? So if you're thinking right now, say if you're thinking about Santa, you know, because I think about Santa a lot. And if you're thinking about Santa, you have to understand that he's kind of just. Oh, I'm gonna turn my emails off. He's kind of just. Waking up. You know, he's kind of, because Santa can sleep through anything. You know, he got 1 million little people, you know, personas pequeños, hammering in his garage. You know, they're building trains, they're building walkie-talkies, they're building some of them, you know. Dude, you build a couple 100,000 trains, some of y'all start to gram off and buy a little bit of dope. So, you know, he's got all kinds of stuff to deal with. You know, he goes outside and, you know, suddenly the place where they were making wagons and they were knitting dolls, suddenly back behind that little building, people's back there, they got a little cookhouse and they grilling up brisket and uppers, methamphetamines, you know what I'm saying? The devil's vitamins, boy, you know, them methamphetamines, son. And so you know that Santa right now, he's got work to do. You know, because he's just stretching up. Because when you ride all night like Santa, nobody works as hard as Santa. Think about it. You know, Jesus maybe, you know, Muhammad, who's a little fat guy with the jewelry on. No, I know some of you guys are thinking probably of Pitbull. No, I'm talking about the Indian, the deity, the Buddha. So yeah, you know, Santa's in a class of his own, and they have, you know, and so when you work that hard at once, one fell swoop, you have to get that rest. And so Santa, if you think about him right now in June, he's just waking up. You know, he probably have birds living in his beard, you know, and he probably has, you know, some of his mustache probably has a little bit of dope smoke in it. Cause you know, a lot of the elves and shit, like I said, you know, a lot of the elves, people don't realize when you're caught up in that elf game, it's like working for the carnival. It's like working for the circus. And you get in that elf game, and next thing you know, y'all are, you guys are hanging out at night, and it's boring. It's cold. You've been making fucking Tamagotchis all day, or building kickballs, or building, softball catcher mitts and things like that, toys for children. You've been building all types of things that, sometimes kids will get something for their parents, but the gift is a piece of shit, right? Because kids don't know what parents want, so they'll get them like a wooden bowl or something. That's that's nothing. Or I remember one time they had one of our next door neighbors gave his dad a fucking a huge like crate full of scallions, ditch onions, and you could go in the ditch and get free all the scallions you wanted. Well, this boy had been collecting them for probably 2 months. And then he fucking hit his dad on Christmas with this box of, ditch onions. And that thing stank to high hell, man. Dude, it smelled like it just smelled like a suppository of the devil. That thing smelled like it had been hiding in the deep caves, and being naughty. And this boy gave it to his daddy, this boy Richard that lived in our neighborhood. And actually, what the crazy thing was? His name was Mr. Richard, and he was a kid. But his grandfather had died, and the dad missed the dad, his dad so much, and he used to call his dad Mr. Richard, and so then he named his son after his own dad, Mr. Richard. So, dude, you got a fucking 11-year-old Mr. Richard. With that dirty box of fucking ditch onions, and he hit his dad with that, and that was a Christmas gift. So what I'm saying is, you get a lot of these people who, you get a lot of crazy gifts that Santa's elves have to make, and that that the story about Mr. Richard and them onions doesn't correlate super well, but what I'm saying is that these elves have to make shit that they don't even want to make. They got to make all the gifts that kids give to their dad. Sometimes you might give your dad a roller skate made out of cotton, and next thing you know, your dad or your stepdad's out there, and he fucking breaks his ankle. And so it's like, but still, who makes all of that is elves. And so these guys, and it becomes like the carnival. They're carnies, dude. That's all elves are, bruh. They're a bunch of Jesus birthday carnies. And so they're out there like that, and they got to build all these wild things. And so when Santa wakes up, he's got a lot of house cleaning to do, And this would honestly be a crazy good time for a ZipRecruiter ad, wouldn't it? But I don't have one. That's just a fucking good joke, though, because imagine if Santa had that. But he doesn't. So he's got to go out there and look all these elves in the eyes. And so Santa got to get out there and look all these elves in their fucking eyes. And some of their eyes are all glassed over, and they're all doped up, and they're hiding, grams and, kilograms of dope in their jaw and all that kind of shit, bro. When you're an elf, you can really get bent out. Because imagine a couple hits of ass it'll do to a 6-footer. You're an elf? Bro, when you are an elf, man, and the ankle bone's connected to the neck bone, and you do a couple hits of LSD, son, yang. You going deep. You going deep, boy. You Randy Mawson, you feel me? And so just know that Santa right now is waking up, and he knows that he still has a lot of work to do. And I think that's kind of just what I'm thinking about right now is, it's just, I got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do, If we want it, whatever it is, if it's that family, if you want a new puppy, if you want a fucking, you want a new shower curtain or a new, what is that thing called? A thing where you push your clothes down in a bunch of, in one spot at a time, but iron, an iron, if you want to, whatever you want, if you want a new job, you want a new family, you want the courage to tell somebody the truth, whatever you want, we still got work to do if we want to get there. But I appreciate you guys being here with me today, and thank you, Jameson Flood, for that intro hitter that brought us in. That song is called No Sale, and that's just a smoky little treat that man put together just for us. Oh, I was in Canada. I was in Canada, and man, look, I said this on my Instagrams. If I die, Lord, bring me back in Canada. Man, it's the nicest people. If you want to know probably maybe what America was like 50 years ago or something, like in the hearts of people, like good, when people's hearts were in a good spot, or, and maybe that's me romanticizing America, and that's fine. But I think you go to Canada. I think you're going to see a mass exodus to Canada at some point, because, dude, if you want your Canada, dude, look, in Canada, you could break your leg, right? You're laying in the street. Someone will come up and fucking rip their own leg off and replace your leg. And you're like, what, bruh? Don't you need your leg? And the guy will be like, oh, I've had my leg for, maybe 40 years, and it's been a good run. You can use it. And I'll be like, what the fuck? So now you running around, you're dual, legisonship. You got an American leg and a Canadian leg. And that's how they are. Dude, if you just even look short of breath, a Canadian, a beautiful Canadian woman will come up and just fill you with that frosty, friendly air of them mountains, that Canadian hit. And you're like, what was that for? And she's like, oh, you just looked a little light in the O2 tits, in the lungs. You looked a little light in the lungs. And man, they're just so friendly. Dude, it got a little windy. I was walking down the street. Some of my hair blew over my eyes. Bro, someone immediately came and moved it off of my eyes. That's Canada. Just kind people, man. I mean, and it's like, and here, like in America, kindness is something that we have to push. I think about it a lot, like how do I stay out of myself and think about others? But man, in Canada, it's not like that. I can't even explain it to you. And you would think because they're so cold, they're frosty. If you go find a picture of a Canadian. If you look in the background of that picture, there's a huge piece of land back there with ice on it. It's God's freezer, bro. That's that frozen food section. You know what I'm saying? They got all, you walk far enough in Canada, it's just like, just a bunch of Tostinos and a bunch of frozen pizzas. And, they got all kind of frozen meats and ice trays, everything. It's that frozen food universe up there. And I didn't even think Canada was real when I was growing up. I remember when I was in middle school, and dude, we had some characters in middle school. We had this one dude, speaking of Mr. Richard earlier, we had this boy in our middle school named, actually Mr. Larry, and he might have been 21. And this is back when you stayed in middle school till you got it. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't just pushing everybody through like now. Now if you got half the alphabet, you could fucking finish, 10th grade. But this is back in the day. They had this dude, Mr. Larry, kind of a little bit of a darker skin than me, kind of. And he, this guy was 20, maybe 18 in middle school. Biggest dick you ever seen. And for most kids, I'm sure it was the first real local meat that they ever saw. Unless their dog brought home a ferret and left it on their front door one day, and they opened the door to go to school, and there was just a big long ferret right there with a little bit of teeth marks in it. But damn, Mr. Larry, bro, he had a straight up cock on him. And he would, when you were urinating in the restroom, he would pee over you into the urinal and make it in every time, bro. This dude was this dude was just the Steph Curry of piss. And eventually they just made him a janitor. He never finished all the grades or whatever. He never got through 6th grade, and they made him a damn janitor. And he was, and he was there for years. I don't know if he's still there, if he's even still alive. He didn't seem like the kind of person that was probably going to live very long, because he didn't, Sometimes you can just look somebody in the eyes and be like, oh, okay, this is, limited edition. And he kind of had that vibe. Oh, but what was I talking about? Being a kid, middle school. I was talking about, Canada. Man, what was I talking about? Being young, urinating, and then I talked about, man, what was I talking about? Man, I can't think of it right now. And now I'm just starting to feel suddenly disappointed in myself. And I know I shouldn't be, because this isn't a bad thing. This is just part of life. And sometimes your brain, when you really think about the size of your brain, it's amazing that it holds what it does, isn't it? Dude, your brain is as big as like a fucking, like a quart of Rocky Road, or maybe a half quart. Think about that. Dude, your brain is as big as a half a quart of ice cream. And you have everything in there. Everything. Think of something. If you did just think of something, then you did it with your fucking brain, you nutsack. So that's reverse mindcology, boy. Just got you on that one. Yeah, whatever you just thought of, you thought of it with your brain, so therefore it came right out of your brain. But damn, I wish my brain had everything in it, because it doesn't have whatever I was trying to remember from a few minutes ago what I was talking about. What were we talking about? You got to get I was talking about getting going. I was talking about we still got work to do. I was talking about growing up. I was talking about being in school and going back to school. And damn, dude. I'm going to think of it. I got to think of it. We talked about Santa, and there's still work to do. We talked about, what else did we talk about? We talked about Santa, there's still work to do. We talked about being in Canada. People are so nice, they blow the air right into your lungs. They're just that kind of people. And, I think Canada. I know we were talking about Canada, and no matter what tangent I was on, I'm going to start back there, because I just had a great time, man. And it's a beautiful place, and people are just so friendly. I mean, they're friendly at a level, like here, I feel like we have to remind ourselves, this is what I was talking about, I think, to remember to be friendly. It's almost like we got to put a Post-it note on our shoulder, and you look down and it says, be friendly. But there, it's just in their nature. Dude, a dude would run up to you at night, in the middle of the night, you're walking on the street, a dude runs up with a knife, bro, and he just gives you the knife. And he's like, hey, I found this beautiful knife a couple blocks away, and, I don't want you being out here by yourself with no knife, just in case an American comes out here and stabs you. But, man, it was great, dude. It was just, and so many people came out. We sold out all the shows in Calgary, and not a lot of women in that city, dude. I think I saw, no joke, dude, 9 women, and probably 791 dudes. But a beautiful gang of humans came through, and I appreciate that, man. And nice people, man. And they came out and they saw that Fighter and the Kid strap. I brought the belt out there with me. I brought that first place, and a lot of these clowns, they won it. D'Elia, he's on Twitter yesterday asking about the strap. Rappaport, that wild senior citizen, he's out there. He's thinking about it. He probably looks around his mansion or whatever he lives in, and he probably got fancy jewelry, but he ain't got el strap, So, but I had a great time in Canada, man. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Great time at Yuck Yucks. And this weekend actually will be at Tembler Brewing Company, and that's in Bakersfield. We have a second show. June 29th, I'll be at Paramount Theater in Stark County, Illinois. 2 shows. That's on Friday. July 6th through the 8th, I'll be in Oxnard at Levity Live. And now I'm just going to list cities. Raleigh, North Carolina. After that, Laugh Factory, Chicago. Nashville, Tennessee. Toronto Just for Laughs Festival. If you have a friend in Toronto, send them to the Just for Laughs. Get the website. I'm there from September 20th to 24th. Have them get them tickets. Get them miedas. And come on. And they have to buy a ticket and then pick who they want to come see. So I promise you, though, I'm going to put on a good show, man. I'm so looking forward to it. After that, we got Buffalo, Appleton, Wisconsin, Salt Lake City, and Washington, D.C. All of those are on sale at theovon.com/tour. And I just want to thank, again, the people in Canada, man. Dude, it's kind of wild because I've been doing this for 15 years, man. You know, and you go to cities and you're like, you know, and nobody fucking cares. You know, and that's the crazy thing about this business. Sometimes you go to these places and nobody gives a fuck. And it's just you with this like heavy, like sometimes I don't know if what I was carrying around was like a dream or like a chip on my shoulder, bro, that just hadn't really formed itself yet into like a dream or a burden, if that makes any sense. You know, so I just had this weight on me. And sometimes I would go and do, I mean, I was a kind of an angrier comedian, man, when I started out. And I was just angry. And one of the blessings of life, if you're able to live long or long enough, is that you get to, you know, people come along and they help you shed those skins, man, those heavy skins. Dude, the skins of anger and the skins of just rage and all that shit, it gets, those get heavy. And if you get to be alive long enough, you shed those. And I love that. And that's one of the blessings of being alive for a while. But fuck, I can't remember what I'm talking about again. Oh man, I'm about to take my own dick off and just dang feed it to a bird. That's what I feel like right now. But man, I just had a great time up there. You know, I guess I'll just go back to Canada, man. Back to Canada. I just had a great time out there. And it was just, oh, that's what I want to say. Thank you. Just thank you for getting the tickets and coming out. It's so different when you go to a place and people are there to see you, as opposed to people just being there, not knowing who the fuck or what's going on. It just makes me feel like a part of something. And that just, man, it just feels good. But yeah, I didn't know for years. I didn't know, and I never really thought about it before, but I didn't know if I was carrying, you know, a dream or my goals or anger sometimes or whatever it was, you know. Sometimes you don't know what that weight is on you. You know, it's still forming, and it forms based on the people you interact with and the things you learn and the things you open yourself up to. That's what I find. And sometimes that weight can get heavier, and sometimes it can get light. And it can just sit right, it can get so light that it can just sit right up in front of you. You know, just like, it's like, and then I think that's when it's like a dream, it's an ambition, it's something that's coming to fruition, you know? And that's kind of something that I'm feeling right now. It's crazy, like, you know, and I'm not trying to say this from a place of ego or anything, but gratitude, I just feel, man, it just means so much. You know, you see people come out, they had them, you know, we had a couple come out and they're about to have a child. They're about to have their first child. You know, this dude, Georgie, I think his name was. And look, in Canada, bro, you'll get some names that you're like, oh, that's a child's name in America. You know, Georgie, Petey, you know, Buzzer. Met a dude named Buzzer. I'm like, damn, bro, that's like a nickname for like a kid who, you know, maybe has a little bit of cute epilepsy. But you met, you know, people were just, I don't know. You know, they had a guy come out, had the biggest hand I've ever seen. He's like, hey man, I wanted to come and show you. I got the biggest hand. I got the biggest fucking hand here. And he's like, hold my hand. And I'm like, dude, I don't, you know. And he's like, no, don't hold it like you know, like you're shaking it. Just hold it. Just hold my hand with both of your hands. And so then I'm just holding this dude's fucking hand, bro. And this dude had straight up handtism, dude. This dude had, you know, hands, you know, down hand drum. This dude had this fucking straight up. I mean, this like a damn cup, just a gallon of straight fucking icy beef at the end of his wrist. And who else came out, man, that was wild? You know, I saw a pair of brothers came out, you know, a guy and his younger brother. And that always means the world to me. That a father-son came out. And the son said, this was my dad's Father's Day gift. And that meant the world, you know, like just because then I get to be a part of like whatever you're a part of, you know, like I can't explain it. I just, you know, and when I get to be a part of whatever, like you know, like I try and stay after the show and say hey to everybody. And I brought the strap and people took pictures but I you know, I just want a little piece of, I just want to let you know, like I like, it makes me feel a part of when I just get little pieces of your life. You know, and you get a little piece of my life. And it's like it's just this interaction, man. It just, I don't know. It just makes me feel like a part of. It makes me feel accepted, I guess, in some ways. And it makes me feel like I'm able to, at the same time, learn to be accepting and just not be afraid to just to be. I don't know. I'm rambling, man. I'm a rambling man. Today's episode, I will say, is brought to you by Greyblock Pizza. Greyblock Pizza. Also, Bronx-born pizza up there in Bend, Oregon. If you're up there in Bend, Oregon, go by Bronx-born and tell them you're a fan of this past weekend and tell them you want to get that hitter. We also got the Get That Hitter t-shirts available now after just constant demand, and you can get those theovon.com/store. Also, this episode brought to you by Herp Alert. If you got herpes, go to Herp Alert, HerpAlert.com. Herp Alert. Get it checked out through your phone, through the computer. Send the pictures. Doctor, somewhere. Herpes, hickey, maybe. Maybe somebody that got fucking, fell asleep outside and got hit by a bunch of hail in the neck or in the cack or whatever, or vajat. Could be any of those things. But herpalert.com, you can get it checked out and know right now what's going on with you. As well, some of you see my shirt that I'm wearing, this t-shirt, and this shirt says Defy Adversity. And this is a new clothing brand, and it's called YouCan. And YouCan is a brand that's focused on inspiring people to defy adversity. Anyone who has been told that they can't, come on, because you can, bruh. Anyone who's overcoming an obstacle or whatever, maybe you were born without a head, or you can't, you never could read or something, or you grew up in a town that didn't have any books and people were burning, pages and letters and vowel sounds on the edge of town and consonants and just beating consonants up and leaving them bloody in the street. But now you decided to get out of that town and go to a town where there's letters and words and everything. And now you just straight up, just supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. You live in life fully stocked with letters and sounds and words and everything. And that's YouCan. That's you defying adversity. And so, and you can check out their stuff and you can get a 15% discount. And that is defyadversity.com. And VON is the code for 15% off defyadversity.com. And some of them got to defy the dark arts, because they're out there. So you just go check them out. And if you like it, then get that hitter. We'll put the link right here below. We had so many great calls that came in on the hotline. I can't wait to share it with you. I just want to let you guys know some of the stuff. We had a lot of response calls for, that bad boy out there with them breasts. I think it was your boy Joe called in and he had them straight up front, them nippled up, them straight up fucking man udders. And he was hitting the beach and stuff, and he had different types of feelings about that. So we got some responses for him. We have a LiveRaise fan line. Now we'll have a link where you can go and you can leave a 15-second video and ask a question, and we'll put it into the YouTube segment. We're going to launch some of those today. Some of you guys have already left them, and that link will be in the YouTube comments as well, and in the iTunes comments. That link where you can go there, LiveRaise. It's free. It is free to leave a video question, 15 seconds, and ask us a question, and we'll put your video directly into the show if it fits. But let's get into some calls. I'd like to know who's listening to this past weekend, and this is someone right here. Here we go.
Theo Von, gang.
Gang.
What's up, buddy? Hey, this is Nelson, man. Calling from Texas.
Nelson down in Texas, and they had a Nelson. They had a dude named Nelson by us that got bit by a crab one time at the beach. Dude, this dude fell asleep on spring break, and a huge crab bit him in the neck or something. That dude, he'd never been the same, dude. He ended up doing all kinds of illegal shit. He was teaching student driving and then stole a bunch of the cars and sold them, crossed state lines, a bunch of dumb shit. But anyhow, thanks for calling, Nelson. Onward.
I'm a postman working for the Postal Service. I'm actually sitting in my mail truck right now. It's hot.
I'm sorry, go on.
Right now, it's probably about 100. It's hot right now. It's probably about 100 plus.
Damn, 112 degrees, Nelson? And you out there hanging out with mail, bro? You out there just sitting in a truck sweating on some mail? Wow, that's almost, that's crazy, dude. That's kind of erotic even, just picturing a man out there just all sweaty hands, just touching all that mail. It sounded like you would just, what about all those I would wonder if all the stamp glue starts to, seep out of those crevasses of the letters and just get all over your skin and everything. Let's hear more. Hot Nelson.
In the truck, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of your show. I started listening to you last couple times you were on Fighter and the Kid. You're a funny dude, man.
Thank you. Thanks, Nelson. I appreciate that, man. And I always love the postal system, dude. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the postal system, you know, that could be, you know, like when I was young, you had to use that thing. You know what I'm saying? You wanted to tell somebody you cared, bro, you better you had to write it down, put it in, take one piece of paper, fold it up, put it into another piece of paper, get a special secret little thing, stamp, lick it, you got to lick the back of it, dude. Already this sounds like something, you know, this sounds like a way you're going to end up high or something. Then you had to put the thing you licked onto the other thing, right? Then you had to write exactly where it was supposed to go on the front. Then you had to go put it in a box out in your front yard. If this doesn't sound like a fucking script for Narnia, I can't even tell you what does. Then a man you didn't even know who gets bit by dogs and animals all the time had to come and pick it up and take it away. And every now and then you would hear that one of those men went insane and shot up his work facility. And that was mail. So I respect so much, Nelson, you out there still riding the rails, you know, because mail it's really, man, it's the Greyhound bus of communication, dude. Anything can happen. Dude, when I lived in Tucson, Arizona, I used to live in Tucson, Arizona. I was a bus boy out there for a long time at a place called City Grill. It was one of my favorite. I mean, I love that job so much, man. I loved being a bus boy. You know, dude, you were just fucking slanging around and people were doing dope. And, you know, the guy who worked the oven would always be falling asleep and you wake that dude up before he fucking burned himself. But they had a postman bus, dude. This dude, he was on something, you know. He was ganging up in his wrist or something, or just hiding, you know, grams of cocaine up in his nose. And he would come by like 3 nights a week, dude. Midnight, 11 p.m. Throw all the fucking mail into the front yard, bro. Just bam, dude. This dude was just making it rain. Bills and coupons and just different shit via the mail. This dude would just fuck it, bruh. Get your shit and cruise. Mail truck unmarked. He would spray paint other shit on the side of it, dude. Straight up real, just human vulture, man. So I know you guys are living wild out there, Nelson. And I appreciate you riding the rails, brother. That's the dark arts. That's the dark arts of delivery, communication right there. When you're out there still, you know, you working that mail and you fending off animals. Basically, you're somebody who has to fight animals. So you can get like perfume samples and coupons and grandparental. A lot of grandparents still use that mail system. And that means so much, though, when you get that letter from one of your loved ones, you know. Like a lot of people in the Midwest, you know, a Midwestern grandmother, she'll fucking write you for no reason. She'll write you, man, and she'll just... And that letter feels so warm and just toasty and breasty. And you read that thing and it smells like cookies and feelings. And man, you do that for people. You delivering those hitters, Nelson. So thank you for calling and thanks for listening to this past week. And I love to know who's out there. Who's out there and whose ears am I helping babysit for a little bit of time on a Monday. Halfway to Christmas, dude. And look at all these gifts we getting. Nelson out there, one of those freelance elves, baby. Gang. We had some good calls that came in last week, dude. You know, your boy called in about them teats, bruh. And he sent me a email as well, and his name is Jeff. He said, this is the email, and then I'm going to play the calls for you guys. He said, hey, Theo, I'm Jeff Toy. I'm the guy with the call about the man boobs on your Bald is Beautiful episode. I appreciate you taking my call, man, and I appreciate you calling. Your story about your friend was awesome. Dang, bro, you must be packing if you're passing out from your boners. Well, I mean, look, bro, I come in thick right there. You know, I come in thick in the key. And it's not fun passing out from erections, bro. Because, you know what I'm saying? You can't, if you know what I'm saying? You can't fuck if you faint. That's really... Now, if you can ride that dark kind of line of just right between like barely conscious and still erect, then you can really make love and you can do well out there. in them vajeets, you know, them vagine streets. But that's such a, I mean, it's so hard to do that. It's so hard to walk that line, because otherwise then you have to, you know, you just a risky Trisket, you know? You're a dangerous cracker, because you know, just a little too much blood to the bone and you're out. But anyhow, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This is more of Jeff's email. I used to give away free grabs for my cousins that never touched a titty before. And that's awesome, dude. That's cool, man. For shock value at parties, I used to lick my own nipples. That's fun. That's fun too. That's fun. That sounds like something that like people do like in Norway or something, where it's, you know, they don't have a lot of different types of games and stuff at their house. If I wanted to transition to the lady side, I would be halfway there, you know, and that's pretty beautiful, bro, because you never know. You never know. If we cracked you open with an axe, they might have 2 or 3 beautiful women inside of you. You never know what's inside of you. Thanks for making me laugh. That's all we can do for now. Anyways, keep on keeping on. See you in Nashville, Playboy. So there you go. Big Jeff with them fucking front baby sacks is going to come out to Nashville. And I'm excited to see you out there, Jeff. And that's at Zany's, and that's in, I think, November or September. But let's play some calls. Some calls came in for responses for you. A lot of people really cared about this, about, you know, what it's like to be a man and have, you know, I'm just going to say tits, bruh, you know, because, you know, that's what it is. And let's go on. Okay, here we go.
Hey, what's going on, Theo? This is Jonathan from Shreveport, down in Louisiana.
Hey, Jonathan, thank you for calling down there in Shreveport. And a lot of our listeners know that Andy Dick, who is an entertainer and a miscreant, tried to give me a blowjob in Shreveport one time, and I denied him. And then 3 years later, I was in Shreveport again, and he tried to give me a blowjob. Didn't remember he'd offered me 3 years previously, and I denied him as well again then, for multiple reasons. You know, I've never had a man, you know, within mouth distance of my dick, and also just, I mean, and, you know, I don't date men sensually or anything. I mean, I'll sit next to a guy in a movie, you know, and I'll even maybe sit in between 2 guys if the place is full. But, and I'm, you know, I could make love to a man when I'm 70 or 80. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? That's far off. But for now, you know, I want to have a wife and children and everything. But anyhow, what I want to, and then also in Shreveport, I ended up at a after hours with John Legend, and he was just playing music in this little bitty. I mean, there was like 9 people in this room, and he's in there playing music on a beautiful piano. Let's hear more. Thank you for calling, Jonathan.
Was just watching the podcast and seen a guy call in talking about being overweight and all that, and I know a little bit about what he's talking about because I was like that when I was younger. As far as the man boob situation goes, he should really think about doing a lot of chest exercises and stuff like that to kind of, you know, work on.
Oh, you talking about tightening up them Tetons, huh? You about, you know what I'm saying? You trying to tighten up them little nerve nodules that he's got, them Tetas. Yeah, I guess if you could do enough bench presses to fucking get them tits strong, then maybe that's realistic. Onward.
Bringing the D's down to A's, if you know what I mean. There is people out there that's rooting for him, man. Just let them know that.
You got it, bud. Just let him know, and you just let him know. So thank you for that call. Yeah, there's people rooting for you, you know? You're not alone. If all of us could just get up right next to your chest, Jeffrey, and just put out one finger and just push that tit back into your soul, you know, and then just as a group, and just another group comes along of other people that care about your, you know, these tits that you don't fully, you know, really want around your body or part of you, and just push that thing back into the oblivion, back into the abyss of creation, so it just molds back. But you know, there are a lot of people supporting you, and you don't know, Jeffrey. You don't know if one day you might get these tits chopped off, you know, and I know that probably just made a lot of our female listeners squeal, and I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean that, you know. But if you got these breasts artfully detached, then you might be able to mold that into something for somebody else, you know. You might be able to make a little nut sack for somebody out of some of that skin or fat. You might be able to make a nut sack for somebody in, in Guam or in, Evansville, Indiana, or, somebody that's, stuck somewhere, trapped in the mountains, or somebody that's starving. You can make maybe a little candy for a cannibal out of that extra breast meat that's, if you got your breast removed. So you just don't know what can happen. But thank you for that call that came in. Let's hear another one. Here we go.
Hey, this is Renee from New York, and I'm just calling in to give a quick comment on the previous caller talking about his pair of man titties.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for calling, Renee. Onward.
And his struggle with that. And me being the proud owner of a pair of man titties, I very much identified with that. Just wanted to say that, man, this world will convince you that whatever it is that you're bringing to the table ain't good enough.
Yeah, that's a great statement. I appreciate you saying that. It is. And I wonder if it's this world or if it's us, or if it's a mix. But yeah, there's a dirty recipe out there that leaves us feeling like whatever we're bringing to the table isn't good enough. And I think it all the time with my, I got limited neck. I got that limited neck, man. And I just put my little cousin David on my Instagram, and he got that specialty reacher. He got that real reacher, bruh. That dude probably running on 4 or 5 extra vertebrates, that are outside above his clavicles. So he got those, those AC above clavicle, those ACVs, those above clavicle vertebrates. And he's got that real reacher neck. So our family, has different type of range when it comes to necks. But yeah, we've all got something, man. When I was a kid, I had my teeth was buck and separated. I got a big nose now, big ears. Big cack, thick and a stick, I got that fainter's cock. We've all got something. You're right. And somehow we will feel less than. And it's something in our society and different elements of our society that make us feel that way. Let's hear more, Renee. Thanks for calling.
And all these inside ugly people are going to try and tell you that your shit ain't worth it. And the only thing that got me over my insecurities about my man titties is understanding that ain't nobody better than me. And I ain't better than nobody else. And, the only way.
Wow. So think about that. Nobody's better than me. And I ain't better than anybody else. Dude, that's powerful. That's a powerful place right there. That's a powerful place, man. Nobody's better than me. And I ain't better than anybody else. Because then you living right there. You're right there in the cockpit of comfort if you can stay right there. It's a nice thought, man. It's a beautiful thought for the day. Let's hear more, Renee.
The way to really get past it is to embrace it fully. So, just stand with a straight back and let the world love you for who you are. And if they can't do that, they're not worth it.
Gang, bruh. Defy adversity. That's, it says it on this shirt today. So I'm glad we got them helping us sponsor this episode. It's wild. It's wild how we battle so many little things. And what's crazy, Renee, is that we'll defeat the thing or we'll feel good about it, and then it'll come back. It'll come back. And it'll come back sometimes, like if something else happens, then that previous thing, a girl breaks up with you, you don't get a job, you fall down a flight of stairs, somebody cuts your hair off at the library and burns part of your hair off. Something happens to you and then you feel, and then this other thing comes in immediately, like a dirty bird that lands on your shoulder. And you're like, oh yeah, also I have I got a big nose, or also I got, eyes like, like one of the, like Kyle Korver if he fucking, was a hippie, or, you have all or I'm not tall enough, or I'm not straight, I'm not have a good enough posture. I don't have, my kneecaps don't both point forward or something. All of a sudden these other dirty birds land on your shoulder. Right when something else happens, something else kind of starts to push you over the edge, and then all this other that load comes onto you. That weight just hammers right back on you. These things you've beaten previously, they're back. And that's one of those moments where you got to figure out, this is one of the things I'm learning, how we can better win in this game of life and stay in a comfortable spot, is to notice when something bad happens. Notice before that other shit comes on. That's just waiting for it to remind us that of our self-worth, of just this, all those other little nitpick things before they come on, to separate, to find space in there and say, okay, this bad thing happened, whatever this is, lost my job, girlfriend left me, lost my arm, was in a fire or something, can't find, our cats, or it could be anything. But then to suddenly be like, okay, I'm gonna handle this. I'm gonna accept this. I'm gonna deal with this, and I'm not gonna let this other shit just pile on me right now. It's interesting, and that's why. And that's, I'm not saying I've mastered that. I don't know anything. But I am saying in my life, I'm starting to notice that space in there, and be able to say, okay, I'm standing up to this right now. I'm recognizing it, and I'm not letting this other shit come in right now, because it's happened so many times before, and I know it just makes me feel just 20 times as bad. And then I'll do bad, I'll make poor choices and do other stuff. So I stop it now. I say, okay, this, I got this. And this bullshit, y'all stay right there, because I dealt with y'all last week. Let's hear one more call that came in here for you. Let's go.
Yo, Theo, this is Rio, the mechanic.
What's up, Rio? Thank you for calling, man. And Rio means river. So you that river mechanic, dude. You out there fucking, you out there hot wiring them waves, You out there just putting high beams on them streams, baby. Let's hear it.
Calling back about the guy that said he had man tits. I can help out with that situation. I've had man tits before in my lifetime.
Man, it's crazy. I didn't know this was such a popular thing for men. I will say that I went heavy into soy, and I used to, when I was young, I used, performance enhancing drugs at the school, and I wasn't even fucking playing a sport, dude. I was just fucking, I was just doing test 200 just to eat some lunch, I was just all wind strawed up at the fucking recess. But that left me feeling kind of a little, tittish in the front spots. Let's hear more.
I'm 24, and like that guy.
You're 24, dude? You sound like you are. Bro, if you're 24, you're doing a great impersonation of a 44-year-old right now, man. You sound like a grown man, dude. So if you do have tits, I bet them bitches are hard as fuck. And I bet them bitches clock into work every day and drink Folgers. Because you sound like you sound like a real man, Rio. Onward.
I gained a bunch of weight when I was a kid, and that'll give you some titties you got to deal with. I tell you what, though, get flat the tits out. I don't know if this guy's been exercising or not, but what he needs to do is do some push-ups. Do at least 100 a day. Try to get 25 in each set. I'm doing 150 a day, and I've been doing it for a month, and I ain't even hardly got no tits no more. I don't know what happened to them, but they gone, man. Just do them push-ups.
They gone. Well, Lane, look, man, if you pushing them titties away. And maybe that's the thing. Sometimes you just got to push them titties right away from your own body. But I like that. I like these are some neat options, man. Come to terms with it. Try some fitness. Accept it. Embrace them. And that's, those are some great responses, man. Those are cool stuff, and I'm glad that I appreciate the calls. You can always hit the hotline if you have any thoughts, suggestions. If you had an experience with this podcast, 985-664-9503 is the hotline. Now, that's a voicemail hotline, okay? We get a lot of calls. Myself and both of the producers now, Nick and Chris, are listening to the calls. And we're going through and, trying to figure out what fits best for the episode. I'll tell you this, half of the calls that come in, the audio, people are on their speakerphone, people are, it's a bad connection. Half of them we can't barely even hear. So right now, right there, you're down 50%. So a lot of people, if you've called and it didn't get on or this or that, or sometimes, that could be one of the reasons why. As well, man, we can't make this episode a million years long. And I think, dude, no joke, I mean, I bet this past week we probably got 400 calls, and we're grateful for it, and and it's helping, and I guess I sound like I'm complaining, but thank you. I'm just saying. Oh, and try to make it a minute and a half your voicemail max or less, And also, you can get to the fan line now. So we got those fan line video questions. And you know what? We'll go to some of those right now. We'll go to some of those right now. And these are via the link below. And this is our LiveRaise. And you can get their app and submit this is free, a video question that we can put right into the episode. So here is our first one. Here we go.
Hey Theo, you've had so many celebrity guests on this past weekend this year. Who's been your favorite so far? And who do you look forward to the most, a celebrity or non-celebrity, to be a guest in the future?
Thank you very much for calling, young lady. We've only had about 6 guests on this past weekend, so we haven't really had a ton of guests, but we have had some. And you know, I'd love to honestly have Boosie Badass. And Boosie is a little Boosie, and he's a rapper out of he came out of Baton Rouge, and man, I follow him on Instagram. He went to prison, and he you know what, he was in prison for a long time, and I remember he was getting out of prison, and I remember a tweet had come off of his Twitter account, and I was like, and his Twitter account had never been anything, because he'd been incarcerated whenever Twitter even came out. So I'm like, damn, dude, it had just been one, it was a favorite or something. So I was like, wow, I wonder, are people even thinking about reaching out to Boosie yet through Twitter? And so I remember I sent a message, and it was Easter. Easter was coming up. And I remember I sent Boosie a message, and I was like, man, Easter's coming early. Easter's coming early. The king has returned, because he was getting out of prison like 2 days before Easter or something, or a week before Easter. And then, bro, no joke, like 48 hours later or something, he puts a tweet out, and the tweet was like, he has, he has risen or something. He's come early or something like that. Just something that was very similar to what I had sent him. And in my mind, you know how humans are with their egos. I'm thinking, oh, he got that. I put it in his head. He got it from me. And I have no clue if that's really how it happened or not. But I love little Boosie, man. I love the way that he works so hard. If you watch him on Instagram, his work ethic is amazing. And I'm out of Louisiana, and I think he has all of his children. He's always putting his children on Instagrams, and you can just tell that he loves them, and he loves to laugh, and I just think he's a great role model. He's a great role model for probably growing up in a lot of poverty, and I respect any role model out of poverty, man. Whether, I don't care, black, white, handicap, straight, gay, lesbian, whatever, French, anything. I don't care. I can relate to that. I can relate to that person. And I can't rap. I don't have bars like Boosie, but I can, I don't know. I just love the way that you could tell what he cares about. He works hard. He's always counting his money. His Instagram is ridiculous. It's funny. It's ridiculous, but he has fun. He goes to the park and he does, the other day he was giving money out to kids. He was giving $40 a piece, I think it was, to kids that had a straight A report card. Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. Just amazing. And I just love it. And you can tell it's genuine. It comes from a real place in him. So anyway, my dream guest to have on this past weekend would be Boosie Badass. Outside of that, just having Chris D'Elia was amazing. I'd love to have Diaz, Rogan. I'd love to have a lot of the heroes, and Brendan Schaub. And we're gonna get some of these guys. Brian Callens. We're gonna get some of them. Nikki Glazer, I really love. These are all comedians, but I want to get some thinkers too. I want to get a little bit of everybody. But thank you for calling. That's a good question. That's through the LiveRaise fan line, and you can see who asked the question on video if you're watching on YouTube. Here we go. Next one.
What's going on, Theo? This is my first time doing this. I'm a little nervous. Also a little zoinked as well. I'm also wearing jean shorts.
Bro, if you can see this on YouTube, it's just a dude laying in bed. So he's nervous, he's stoned, he's got on jean shorts. There, you sound, boy, you Huck Finning by yourself, bruh. You about to break out that, that bad boy Big Jim and just, and go down river on yourself. It sounds like, man, you laying in bed there. That wasn't a question, but I appreciate you hitting the LiveRaise fan line right there. Let's go to one more here.
G'day Theo. It's a big fan from Australia here, man. Just cruising around with my dog.
Oh wow, that's a beautiful dog, man. That looks like a what kind of dog is that? A Maltese or something? Maybe a Rottweiler? Onward.
Just wondering if you had any pets growing up. Hitter? Cowboy? Peace, man.
Thanks for calling, man. That's awesome. Did I have any pets growing up? Dude, I got attacked by a couple cats on my birthday once. That was my first big experience. I went running out of our apartment complex and I was fired up. And my mother was taking us down to the river, down to the river to do, a little bit of swimming and just being out there. And, in the banks of the rivers in Louisiana, they have this red clay, and it's this strong orangey red clay. And when you can dig a bunch of it up as a kid, you can squeeze it in your hands, and you feel like you feel like a construction worker. You feel like one of Santa's little elves. You feel like you could make a whole new universe right there in your hands, and then dip it in the water, and it would just exist. You feel so capable with that clay in your hands. And my mother would take us down there, and we would have a nice time. One day on my birthday, I come running out of our apartment, and they had two cats that had been on the roof, danger cats, and these motherfuckers came off, man. They came off and got me. And I didn't know they did it like that, man. And they fucking jumped me, really. So that was fucked up, I thought. But, that was an early experience. I never even saw a pet, dude, till I was probably 12 years old, I didn't see a pet till I was 12. I remember being at my buddy's house, and they had a dog indoors, and I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? I thought it was like a sheep, like a yellow sheep. That was maybe like a lesbian, but it was a golden retriever. And I'm like, wow, and it was an indoor dog. Because my neighborhood, they just had loose dogs. They had 3 or 4 loose dogs, and if you went by them, they's gonna fuck you up, If you went by them, dude, you're gonna leave with probably only half your rib cage, and that was nature, and that was natural. So, it is what it is, man. But that was my experience with animals growing up, and so me getting more comfortable around animals has been a lifelong process. I couldn't. If somebody has cats, I can't even really be around those cats. And just recently, been spending time with a lady, and I can go over and she have cats, and I can be around these cats and not be afraid, because suddenly it all flashes back from me, and I'm blowing out candles, and they got a couple of fucking felines trying to take daddy down, on his birthday. But after that, man, I got in, I grew up in a hamster breeding area. People were selling hamps, G-pigs by me. So all of that, we had a bunch of animals in our lives after that. But that was my first experience with animals. But thank you for calling with that, man, out of Australia. G'day, man. Onward. One more fan line.
Yo, Theo, I just saw your recent podcast with Chris D'Elia, and I'm actually kind of curious now. Do you think you and him might do a collaborative podcast going?
Oh, that's a good question. Will we do a collaborative podcast? Man, I'll tell you this about Chris D'Elia. He is I don't know if it's always been some intimidation, but also I've always admired Chris. He has a level of comfortable confidence that there's times early when I didn't think it was genuine. I believe that it's genuine. And it is, man, dude, if he died, bro, say if he died in front of me, and I do not wish that upon him at all. I think he is a tornado of talent. I mean, immense talent, bro. Who knows what fucking talents could be inside of that dude that he hadn't even fucking showed people yet. He might know where gold is. I mean, he could be a damn treasure hunter, and he's just saving that for when he's in his 60s, He may just have, but he has, he just has that confidence. And if he ever died or something, dude, honestly, I'd take a knife out, cut a hole right in his arm, and drink some of his straight up blood out, bro. I would straight up drink some of that dude's blood because I would just to have that, just to fucking feel what it's, just to have that taste in my mouth of that confidence. You know, he has a level of confidence that's just staggering. And it's admirable. And I don't see it that much. But then he also, like, he was in here and, you know, he loves to laugh, man. And he just loves to laugh. And now a lot when I hear him say that and I look at his life and I look at like the moments I see him in, that's what he just loves to do. You know, he likes, you know, coffee and, you know, I know he's always dated beautiful women. He likes beautiful women and he likes laughter. And he is okay with that. And that's where he is. And it's, you know, it's almost, and look, I don't feel like I'm judging him here. You know, I look up to him. You know, I really do look up to him. I think he's very funny, and I think he's got a big he's got a big heart. He's kind of like the Tom Cruise of affection a little bit in some ways. You know, like he's not Tom Cruise, but he's more like he's like the James Bond of affection. You know, he's like you know, like me, I'm at emo Nemo. You know, I'm out here swimming in my feelings and shit. But he is more. He doesn't lead with that. It's right there, but he doesn't lead with that. You know, but he has it. You know, he does a lot of nice things that I think other people don't even see. People don't see him do. But yeah, he's just so confident, man. It's admirable, and he's so talented. But yeah, would we do a podcast together? I mean, I think that's something. I mean, it would be crazy, I think, because we're so different. You know, we are so different. And maybe that's where some of my, you know, I guess there were younger times, you know, previous years in my comedy where I wanted to be like him. Like, man, I wish I was more like him. And then now he, oddly, has helped me realize a little bit like, nah, you want to be like you know? Like you do what you know, like you just, like what you do is that's what you do best. So you don't want to be like I am me. That's where I am. That's what I have to be me. But you be like you. And it's weird. He's like a general kind of. He's a bit of like like if he were in an army, dude, he's the fucking general, you know? He's not the fucking, I mean, you know, what else is he going to be? He's not the dude who's chopping wood like super early in the morning. He's the fucking dude that's not sleeping and that's being in the tent, probably grows a mustache, you know, probably cuts off other people's legs and shit just to fucking try on their shoes. Like, you know, he's a general. But yeah, it'd be cool. It could be cool, man. Look. Anything's possible. That's what I'm learning in this podcast universe. And I'm just happy. I was so happy to have him as a guest because he's one of a kind. Dude, I don't know. I've never seen anybody like that man. I've never seen anybody like that man. Let's take one more here from the fan line that came in. Here we go. Onward. Oh, wait, actually, this video came in through our regular website. You can submit videos as well. If you don't have the LiveRaise Fanline app, you can go to theovon.com, and there's ways to hit the hotline, 985-664-9503. There's also ways to submit a video via Dropbox. Here we go.
What's up, Theo? My name is Casey. I'm a fan of the podcast.
Thanks for checking in with us, Casey. And if you look on YouTube, this man have a picture of a dog in the back, and this looks like it could be a Yorkie or something. I don't even know what a Yorkie is, dude. More?
I just wanted to send a video, kind of get your thoughts, kind of bounce something off of you. I'm a rollerblader, and I've been doing that for about almost 20 years. I do.
Damn, bro. Why? That's wild. Let's hear more.
Like tricks and stuff, grind rails. I'm really good.
You're really good at what? Roller? I mean, yeah, it's good. I mean, there's definitely, I saw a dude that went off this big embankment one time on rollerblades and landed on some tram tracks, on these tram tracks in Atlanta, and he had to have broken both of his legs. I was probably 80 yards away, but you could almost tell that both of his legs were broken. Let's hear more, though. You sound like a safer skater.
But it's one of the few activities that people outwardly will hate you for.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. That's true.
So I just wanted to get your advice, your thoughts. What do you do if you love doing something, but everybody else kind of hates it?
That's a good question, man. What I do, look, I'll say this. You never know when it's going to come back in style. Right now, we might all have feet. Everybody's got regular feet. 6 years from now, they're fucking hammering wheels into our feet at birth. So you may be ahead of the curve, man. At that point, you'd be 26 years ahead of the curve. Dude, you'd be the Michelangelo of walking at that point. Because, you know, wheeling would become the new walking and you'd be taking us everywhere. So that, you know, you have that. So you might be ahead of the curve. You never know when you are ahead of the curve, man. You know? And also, what about this, dude? I used to scrapbook. I grew up scrapbooking, bro. You know what I'm saying? You'll find me at Michael's, son, posted up in the back. Because Michael's, great place to meet bad bitches. All right? And to do scrapbooking. And I did it for years. I got a bunch of scrapbooks at the house. And bruh, I couldn't tell anybody, you know? I couldn't tell anybody I was freaking S-booking. But now, they have dudes on Instagram with 3,400 posts. You know what Instagram is, man? Scrapbooking. That's all it is. So I was ahead of the curve, dude. I used to do it the old way, you know? I was Nelson the mailman, you know what I'm saying? I was out there putting in work and doing things out there in 100-degree heat, and Nelson's still getting grandma's letter to you. So maybe you need to team up with Nelson and put some wheels on that bad cat. And next thing you know, you've revamped the whole mail system. Because I hope Elon Musk comes along. I love the mail system, and I've always loved mail people, and I've always been fascinated by it. I tried to mail myself away. I hated growing up so much. And when I was a kid, I remember going to the post office in the middle of the night and sitting in there and just hoping that somebody would just mail me away. But I'll tell you this, that, I forgot. I fucking forgot, man. Damn, this episode's getting long. All right, let's take another couple of calls, man. What else do I want to tell you guys about? I think that's pretty much it. We got the dates coming up. You can get merch at theovon.com/store. Let's take another call.
Hey, Theo. This is Morgan calling from Canada.
Thanks for calling, Morgan. I was just in your country this morning. Dude, let me say this, though. Beautiful ladies up there. You'll see a beautiful lady working at the airport. You know, you'll see a beautiful lady, cleaning out, even the homeless people. I saw a homeless woman. She was a fucking 8, bruh. She had on heels. Like, damn. Dirty Betty out here flexing into my eyes, bruh. Dude, unbelievable. Unbelievable, bruh. It's that glacier water. You know what I'm saying? They got them glacier wombs, bruh. And when you got a cool, pristine womb, you get that beautiful bird coming flying right out of that thing. Let's hear more. Thanks for calling, Morgan.
I just had a question. It's about foot odor. I was on a flight with my girlfriend to go and meet her family in England. You know, we had to share a row of seats with this old lady. Midway through the flight.
You mean a senior citizen, I'm guessing. Onward.
Now, the old lady, she decided to take her slippers off. It stunk up the whole cabin. It smelled so bad that it almost made me and my girlfriend have a fight. You know, there's nothing you can say. She's a nice little old lady. I don't want to insult her. I was just maybe wondering if you can give any advice.
Well, look, man, I'll suggest this, bro. If you smell an old lady's feet, dude, some of that's on you. Because you knew if Grammy Graham took her shoes off, you could put a little mask on yourself or something, you know? Or put a little couple dollops of, brown mustard under your nose so you can't smell her feet. Because I think it's a little bit pervy that you're out there smelling women's feet on a plane, dude. You know? And especially if your lady, your wife is sitting right there next to you on the plane and you sniffing old mom's feet. You sniffing them freaking 70, 80-year-old hoofs that are hanging out of her skirt. Come on. You're better than that. You're better than that, dude. Dude, next time if an old woman takes off her shoes, bro, what I do is I take a cross around my neck, I kiss it, bro, and I just hope the best for them. And I'll put a dollop, a little bit of brown mustard or something right up under the daddy's fucking air hitter. You know, and I shut it down because I ain't the type of man going to be smelling of senior citizens, metatarsal things, feet. I'm not the type of person who's going to be smelling a senior citizen's feet. And if their feet stink, dude, and you get you a little bit of powder, bruh. Enough people don't carry powder. They got them little hitters of powder. 4 ounces of fucking powder. You know what I'm saying? When grandma's asleep, they don't have any feeling in their feet. Dude, a 75-year-old woman don't have any feeling in their feet, bruh. Their feet are just these just hot things that have like blood in them and just toenails on them. They can't feel. You fucking just, that lady fell asleep, fucking hit her with that, just dandruff them up with that freaking beautiful dandruff, that baby powder. You know what I'm saying? With the fucking, that's just Michelangelo's dandruff, baby, that baby powder. Hit him with that shit, that Jameson and Jameson. And next thing you know, she wakes up, her feet smell better. You and your lady aren't fighting, everything's healed. You got to think outside the bunions, bruh. Yeah, man. Let's take another call that came in. Thank you for that call, though, Morgan. I appreciate it. And thank you for all my fans from England. Dude, I get so many people that hit me up from England. And I say fans, man, but I mean friends, Onward.
Hey, Theo. This is Christina. I'm calling from Long Island, New York.
What's up, Christina from Long Island? That's cool. I love New York. I love real New Yorkers. You know what I'm saying? People that got that swagger. I like that swagger, bro. Onward, Christina. Thank you for calling.
I just had a question. I know you're on, I think, a low dosage of antidepressants, and I was wondering.
Yes, I am. I'm on fluoxetine, and that's that generic Zoloft, I think. But I'm on something generic. I'm on maybe, I think, kind of that second dose, second range, up more.
What made you decide to start taking them? Because I feel like I'm at a point where, I've tried diet and exercise, and I just feel like no matter what, I just keep going back to old ways of feeling, and my brain kind of goes into overdrive, and I'm not really able to enjoy anything really. And I'm 24, so I know I'm young, and people say it's growing pains or whatever, but I just wanted your take on that because I'm kind of considering taking them because I just want to feel okay.
Oh, and I appreciate that call, and I'll take my headphones off because sometimes I can think a little bit more when I don't have them on. I just knew at the end that you were going to say, I just want to feel okay. That's just what we want to feel. And it's so tough. It's so tough. I feel you, Christina. I'm sorry if I'm throwing in an extra vowel or not throwing one in, but man, that just, when you feel like you're doing all you can, and there's this weight. For me, it was this pain a little bit. Not only would I feel bad, but I had this heaviness in the top of my lungs a little bit that just felt like something was wrong with me, that I wasn't okay. It would almost be the feeling like you were going to get, if you were about to cry a little bit, but you didn't cry. It was just like this it was like these cumulus clouds of tears, like a 40% chance of fucking feelings just sitting in my lungs always. That would accompany me not feeling well. And for me, look, I'll tell you, when I got on them, I got out of a relationship. I was 21. I think I was 21, and I was in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'd hitchhiked up there to chase down a girl that broke up with me and that I was in love with. And the truth was, I loved her, but I really loved her as a mother. I'd looked at her as a mother figure. I didn't realize it at the time. Even though there were some clues, man, when we broke up, I remember her saying, "You can't leave me." I said, "You're like, I need you," I said. She's like, "You've never acted like you needed me." I said, I need you. I said, "You're like a mother to me." That's what I said, and it just came out of me, and I didn't realize that. But anyhow, and I say that just to say that obviously I had taken this relationship and put extreme consequences and values and pressures on it that weren't fair for like, two young, some Romeo and Juliets, like me and this beautiful young lady. This lady was beautiful, man. She had this Native American kind of look. And, she just had a heart that, that probably sunk to the bottom of the ocean and people have been looking for it forever. She had just a heart of gold. And I just remember that at that moment, everything inside of me, whatever was broken inside of me, not, maybe not feeling like I had affections of a mother or whatever it is that created me feeling bad, whatever made me feel less than or made me feel depressed that weighed inside of me, that's when it really started to take hold. And I remember going to a doctor and they just come out with Zoloft. And dude, I got on it. And and I felt great. Look, I could drink gin on it too. I'll say this, I never even liked gin. Next thing you know, I'm wearing boat shoes and fucking watching sailing. I'm drinking gin. So Zoloft will make you definitely, hang out by a yacht club, But since then I've been on it. And that's been, 13, 14 years now that I've been on and off of those drugs. And for the most time I've been on them. And it's hard to get off them. And I'll say this, when I get off of them, what I feel like is how I felt before. I feel those feelings. I feel that feeling you cannot escape, that I can't be okay. And I worried for years, especially when I was your age, I worried that, man, I could feel the chemicals in my brain sometimes a little bit. I could feel myself feeling a little okay, even though shit was kind of weird. And then I was like, well, dang, is this okay? I'm not really feeling my real feelings. I'm just kind of masking things. And that's true. I think there's some truth to that because your levels are a little higher. And so you're not feeling those lows. But I think if you still try and focus on the work, whatever work needs to be done that solves those problems and fixes those hurt feelings, then I think you can really lift yourself up and maybe one day you can get off of them. And look, Christine, you're so young that, in a few years they could have some real natural holistic ways. And they do now. There's a holistic medicine depression woman that follows me on Instagram. And she's constantly saying there are ways to get off of antidepressants and things like that. But if you think it could help you right now, I wouldn't feel ashamed about it. I pridefully wake up in the morning and take my low dose Zoloft or whatever it is. And I'm just grateful, and I have a lot of good relationships in my life these days. And I don't have a lot of the same low feelings that I used to have when I was younger. And I feel a little bit more okay. And a lot of that is because of, the medicine has been there as like a training wheels for my feelings along the way. And they're there for me when I fucking hit the low points, and sometimes I don't need them. And so every now and then I'll go like about 5 or 6 months, I'll wean myself off. I'll talk to my doctor and I'll get off. But then I usually get back on. It's kind of like when you swim out in a pool when you're young and you get a couple feet from the wall and you start feeling squirrely, but you can still have fun in the pool and those things just kind of give you that wall. But I would feel okay with trying them, and that's just a suggestion. But I would talk to a therapist or psychologist first. All right, we got to wrap it up, man. It's getting late, and Nick has to edit, and we have to do some other stuff. We're gonna put out a video here in the next day or two. We had our first single mom come out in Oklahoma, Julie, and we just I haven't been in town to edit. Thank you so much. I had a great time in Canada. I want to rock in this one more call right here that came in. Here we go. This is for the greatest weekend ever. Every weekend, people can call in and say what their weekend was like or what their weekend wasn't like. This past weekend. Here's the thing. Hit the hotline 985-664-9503. Let me know if you had the best weekend or the worst weekend. Don't call in with a nothing weekend. I don't give a fuck if you were, you looked out the window and you saw somebody's cat, or you saw, a vulture or something. I don't give a fuck, bro. Why? Because nobody gives a fuck, dude. Call in if you had a real weekend. You know, you threw a javelin and it landed in a, right in the middle of a watermelon 70 yards away, or, something happened. Somebody was in a fire. Somebody won a contest. Somebody, got a crown. You found a bag of molars in your front yard. Call in with a real story, something that happened. And we have 2 people that are entering that contest for this month. Every month we'll give out a prize pack to whoever calls in with the best or the worst weekend. We only choose one. Here are 2 submissions that have just come in. Here we go.
Hey, Theo. My name's Macy. I'm from Texas. So this past weekend, I flew to Alabama to see my boyfriend.
Oh, that was sweet of you. The girl that I'd fallen for, that I fell out of love with and got on antidepressants, she went to University of Alabama. Onward.
Got that southern love, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Gang, gang.
Gang.
On the flight back to Texas, I was sitting there thinking about how I wanted to leave my job for the past few months, but it's hard because I've worked there for 6 years. And so I get home and I'm thinking, like, gonna put in my 2 weeks, and I'm sitting there watching your podcast, and you start talking about how we need to grow and there's too much opportunity to stay stagnant, and you got to start with taking one step at a time.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I say those things, sometimes I'm not preaching at you, but I'm definitely reminding myself. Onward.
So I paused the podcast, and I walked into my boss's office and put in my 2 weeks, and I've honestly never felt better. So just want to say thank you for those words of wisdom.
Wow, that's brave. You put in that 2 weeks notice. I'm sure your boss is like, well, you're listening to podcasts on the job, so who knows if he'd been meaning to ask you to leave for a while. I jest. I know a lot of people listen to podcasts as a passive listening, but good for you. It's brave, dude. Change is brave. Change is where things happen. People, say they hate America these days. They hate this and that, and it's hectic. It's hectic because people are alive. But man, it's fucking anything can happen now. Anything is possible. It may be something bad, it may be something good, but I think anything can happen. And that feeling only arises when there's change. When something different, when something shakes up the fucking norm. I want to make a few changes in my life right now, and I'm afraid. I've been pushing them off for this and that, and not sure and not knowing what my instincts are and what's my ego, and it's hard. But a lot of times you could change and you can go back. But man, to get out there and take that first step, that sounds like a good weekend to me. Thank you for calling about that, Macy. Let's go one more here. Here we go.
Hey, Theo, this is Chris calling from Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, that's crazy. She was just, fuck, this could be Chris, her boyfriend. Who knows?
But like you, I was born and raised in that boot, baby.
Oh, he's down in the boot. That's what he's talking about, Louisiana. Thank you for calling, Chris.
And for those who don't know what the boot is, that's the greatest state in this union, Louisiana.
It's definitely one of the top 50 states. Great place to get oysters. Great place to get dementia, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Onward.
But anyway, I got a best of the weekend for you. I was watching the U.S. Open, and they had a segment about a past winner named Raymond Floyd. But that's not the important part. The important part is in the background of that segment, they had that hitter. And I'm talking about Shine by Bishop Gunn was playing in the background. The first time I heard that song was on your podcast, baby. So I just wanted to let you know how ahead of the curve you are. Keep up the good work with the podcast. Hey, and come and perform at the Alabama Theater in Birmingham, Alabama. I'll be there with bells on. All right, Theo, you keep doing what you're doing.
Dang, he'll be there with bells on, dude. And I used to live by a jingle bell factory. And I used to balance them on my chest at night so I wouldn't get molested or attacked. So I would hear them like a little bit of an alarm system. But you know what's so funny, man? Yeah, that Bishop Gunn, they're doing nice things. And the drummer, I said it before, I used to work on his father's farm. The drummer of that band, his father employed me out of college to work on their farm. And I got to know the family, and my buddy who hired me passed away. He was many beautiful things. He suffered from some addiction, and I'm not throwing him under the bus, but I know that he would want other young people or young men that struggle to know that that's a real thing that can happen. But I feel so blessed to know his son, who's the drummer of that band. And somebody hit me up on Twitter and said, man, I was just watching the U.S. Open and I heard Bishop Gunn on the way out of that thing. So right here, let's close out today, man. Thank you so much. We had some other great calls, but we'll have to put them on next time. Man, thank you, Calgary. I'll see you guys in Bakersfield this week. We got those other places. Just go get them. You guys be good to yourself because you probably deserve it, man. I'm ready to hear this hitter.
Hi, Theo.
Hi, Theo.
This is Burning Band.
We're from Nexus, Mississippi. We play for Bishop Gunn.
We're in that Bishop Gunn band.
Oh, yeah.
A surprise call.
The rhythm section over here.
But anyway, look, we're talking about some dark arts this evening. We're sitting in the living room, and we're just wondering, is the Bush making a comeback?
We're talking about,
Oh, you mean George Bush?
for the record, we're not talking about the presidency. We're talking about vaginas. And different
Oh, okay. You talking about that, you know what I'm saying? You talking about that pheasant, boy.
hairstyles revolving around that. I just don't see much of the whole landing strip or the triangle much more. It's either all gone or it's all there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you talking about that full field, you talking about that, that front 40. Well, it's funny you talk about that, it's so funny because this is the drummer right now that called and of Bishop Gunn of the band, and they're asking, is that thing making a comeback or what is it? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't mind. I don't want that cornfield down there. I'll use terms since I used to work on his father's farm. I don't want them, I don't want them stalks. I don't want that field of dreams down there, bro, where you can't even, you know what I'm saying? You might lose, if you bring a friend, you might lose them down there. Or you might lose your freaking, a piece of jewelry. I don't want that. But I wouldn't mind something a little low grade, maybe some soybean, maybe something as high as corn, but, not corn, but cotton, maybe some Milo. Wheat. I'll go with that streamy wheat down there, bruh. A little bit of cream of wheat, get a serving going. I'll do something like that, but I don't know. Is the Bush making a comeback? That's a good one. That's a tough question. Maybe some ladies, if there's some ladies out there who listen, can you let us know, is that Bush going to make a comeback? I was just talking to a black friend of mine about the Jerry curl haircut. Where the fuck is that thing? A lot of men out there, a lot of African American and black men out there saying they got that swagger, they brave, they this, they that. But ain't nobody ready to rock that J curl out there. Where's that at? You know what I'm saying? Grease up and grease out, baby. Let's see it all. Because y'all want to see that hang time coming off the back. You ain't got the balls to grow the falls, baby, and you know that. So let's see it, man. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Let's see it all. Let's see it all, man. And we'll put the link to this song in the footnotes on the way out. And this is Shine by Bishop Gunn. Man, you're going to love this band. You're going to love the rest of their music as well. Let's get that hit out.
I'm just sitting on your front porch, wondering how could I be so far from my home. And my mind is somewhere else, but when I find it, I'll patch up where it's been blown.
Blown, not grown.
Now I'm just floating on the breeze, and I feel I'm falling like these leaves. I must be cornerstone.
I'm gonna bring my producer in so you guys can see him.
Oh, but when I reach that ground, I'll share this peace of mind I found. I can
so grateful for this guy. He's the best.
In my bones, but it's gonna take a little time for me to set that parking brake and let myself unwind. Shine that light on me. I'll sit and tell you my story. Shine on me.
What up?
This is Nick Davis, man, the best producer ever, and just so grateful for this guy, man. Thank you so much.
Onward.
There you go. Onward, man. You guys check out that Bishop Gunn. Thank you for being here for this past weekend. And yeah, we got some great guests coming up here. And we're Well, nothing. I've said enough. You guys be good to yourselves. I bet you deserve it.
No, they're worn so thin that they're damn near gone. I guess that they just weren't built to last. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make sense of what I can, of where I'm going. Oh,